Francis again, and I hope you're having a good day so far. And I want to try and make that day continue in a good way. With this lesson, we're going to do what is called grid drawing. So what is a grid? A grid is nothing more than square shapes divided off on a piece of paper. That's what a grid is. And we find grids all around us, but we don't always recognize them, okay? Now, our materials today are very simple. All we're gonna have is our drawing that we're gonna draw from and a grid. And this is contour grid drawing. Excuse me. If you remember from previous time, we did the blind contour drawing of your face, and that was quite fun. I hope you really enjoyed that. But this time we're gonna do a contour grid drawing of an object that we're gonna use as a reference point. Before we get into that, I'm gonna tell you something, share something with you about drawing. Here we have our basic drawing tool. Well, the really basic drawing tool is our finger. That's the first one we used when we were drawing in the mud, okay? And our ancestors dipped their fingers in paint and drew on the caves and or rocks and such. So this I consider our first drawing tool. Now we have the pencil, and we can make wonderful marks with our pencil. So let's see, I'm going to draw I'm gonna start drawing, perhaps I want to draw a face. So I make kind of an oval shape. Oh, I don't like the way that looked. So I get my eraser and I erase. Okay. Okay, let me wipe that away. Okay, I'm gonna start again. I want to make this oval shape. Oh, I don't like that line. Oh my gosh. Okay, start again. I'm gonna start from this side now. I didn't like that curve there. So eraser at work again. So after 3 tries, what do I have? I don't have anything. I've used my pencil, but I've used my eraser. Erasers come in handy. There's a time for them. But I like to try and stay away from the erasers because then we end up with this, which is a blank sheet of paper. Okay, so let's get started. And that's just the way I feel about erasers. Like I said, I know they have a time and a place, but sometimes they can hinder us. So I have this little grid drawing here of an apple, and I have my blank grid here. So the idea is, and I'm going to scoot up a little closer, whatever I see in this square, I'm going to draw on this square, and here, and so on, until I have the drawing complete. And this is a very accurate way, without measuring and using rulers and that type of thing, to get a wonderful drawing. And with this method also, you can gain some confidence in your own drawing skills. Another thing that happens with this type of grid drawing is we look carefully. And of course I'm pointing to my eyeballs. We look very carefully at what we're drawing to make sure we have the proper placement. If you don't get it quite accurate according to this and transferring it here, that's okay. If you've never done this before, don't be too harsh on yourself with it because it takes some practice also, as most things in life take practice. Okay, so let me start. I'm going to start on my left side here. See this little leaf, and this leaf, the point of it, it's not quite in the middle of this square. It's about, let's see, I'm going to say here's the middle. It's about right here. So, and I said about, okay? I'm going to take this little leaf shape, and it's going to end up, here's the middle again, it's going to end up near the top here. So I'm going to look carefully, and I see it goes up, down a little bit, up again, whoops, up a little bit, and then down, okay, 1, 2, whoops, Okay. Here, and you see I'm not erasing, but I'm trying to be relatively accurate. Okay, and I can come back and darken those lines later. Okay, there. And then the underside of this, and the tip of this comes a little bit past the edge here. So I'm going to come over here lightly and come in. And as I'm talking to you and I'm saying this, I'm thinking about where this little dip is in comparison to this edge. It's kind of close to the edge, but not real close. And it's not close to this edge at all. Okay, so that gives me a placement about right here. Okay. And then it comes down. And at this point, I'm looking at this edge compared to this little line that I made here as a guide for me. Comes down, and now I'm going to look at this corner here. And I'm keeping my finger pointed so I know where I'm going with this. Okay, here. And there's a big area here and a little smaller area. Okay, now then I will come, let's see, I think I'll go to the top here again, to this area. So I'm going to look at this area, and this leaf is close to this corner here. So that gives me a guide to go by. I'm going to go down here, but I'm going to stop because I want to put this leaf in. But I'm just going to my grid line here, to this grid line. So this petal is nice and curvy, and it comes down very smoothly to about right here. And you can see that this does take a little bit of patience, and that's perfectly fine. We've got to be patient. We should be patient with ourselves. Okay, so now I have this square, and I see that this leaf comes a slight bit over this corner here. So I'm going to just draw that in lightly. And here's the stem. Okay, and it comes to about this corner or area of my square. And other leaf behind it, it's not all the way close to here. It's maybe about halfway, okay? Okay, and this one comes all the way to the edge. So, I hope that this gives you a clear idea of how to do the grid drawing. You do have to be patient. It takes a little bit of time, but it's worth the effort, because it's going to help you to, number one, you're going to see more accurately, and you're going to gain more confidence using your pencil and staying away from the eraser, because the eraser, yeah, like I said earlier, it's helpful, but sometimes it can hinder us. So that's the first grid drawing, which is a small, the small apple. Now we have the second grid drawing, which is the apple enlarged. And these are 1-inch squares. So if I want to enlarge this, say twice the size, these squares, the grid, are going to be 2 inches. So this is a 2-inch grid, and it matches this. So, and I would begin with this with the same idea in mind, that I'm going to look carefully at the object that I'm drawing. And again, this is a contour line drawing, so I'm just drawing the outside edges of this. So let's start this time with this area here. Okay, now here's the halfway point, and this is a little bit beyond halfway. Here's halfway, here's a little bit beyond, according to what I'm seeing. And then this leaf comes just, this is about halfway, just a little bit beyond halfway. So again, I'm continually measuring with my eye. Okay, so the leaf starts here, and we come around here, and I want it to end about right here. Okay, that's the beginning. Now I'm going to go to this edge here, and it's just about halfway, so that this, and after I complete the entire drawing, I can come back and refine the edges and the marks that I've made. Okay, so it's again the same idea that I did with the small grid drawing. I'm looking at the grid, the little square itself, and then I'm looking at the placement and measuring with my eye, as I said earlier, instead of a ruler. Now this leaf here, it's, let's see, this is halfway, so it's about halfway up here. So here's about halfway, and here's about halfway up here, and it has a slight curve to it, and it ends up somewhere about here. Okay, same idea, always measuring with my eye at this point. No rulers. Oftentimes rulers also have their place, and they're very useful. If I want an extremely straight line, I can use a ruler. If I want just a line, I can just, what we say, eyeball it. Okay, so there's a straight line. This type of line has more humanity to it than just this line. This line is very mechanical. This line has more humanity to it, because you can see what we say, the hand of the artist, which is very important. Okay, I don't mean this hand, I mean this hand down here. Okay, anyway, that's an inside joke. Okay. So let's continue over here. I'm going to draw in this line here, and here's about the halfway point, and it comes a little bit beneath that. Okay, so there's this line here, and then there's another one that comes here that intersects it, and this comes down over here. Okay, and then this, I'm pointing to this little line here. It goes here, and it ends up a little bit less than halfway on this next grid. Okay, just a nice, here's about halfway here, about a nice smooth flow. Okay, at this point it doesn't look like anything, but you know where you're going with this. So I'm not going to complete the whole thing because it would take a bit of time here, but I wanted to give you the basic example of doing grid drawing. When you do this at home, of course, you can take all the time you want with it, because now you have the basic materials to start with. I'm leaving the eraser out, okay? So just paper, the grid, and your pencil. I hope that you'll enjoy this. I hope that you'll experiment with it and take some time with it, because you're not going to get it done in 15 minutes. It will take maybe a bit longer. It would take even me longer. But this, with practice, this can give you accurate drawings that you can enjoy, and you'll develop more of the skill of looking accurately, and you'll develop more of the skill of using your pencil in a freer way instead of relying on the eraser. Okay, thank you very much. Have fun with it. Enjoy.